So what I propose we go through today is just a bit of the school background, the staff that are currently there, and go through what makes them a fantastic staff. Talk a bit about the players, the past players and also current players. And then go through different ways that XPS is utilised at the school. We're not fantastic at it in terms of being where I want to be with it, but it has massive benefits which are starting to show in terms of recording things, in terms of goal setting for players, in terms of challenging players every day. So the school is, where we're based is in Sydney's West, which is about an hour from the CBD. The location of the school is, it's very culturally diverse. You have many ethnic backgrounds there, which is a fantastic melting pot for different styles of football. And the Sydney's West is working class, where people are hungry to succeed and football's their passion. We train on about 40% of a synthetic pitch. We've got a shooting net there. We've got some heading pendulums. We've got different goals. The pitch we train on every day can get very hot in summer. Upwards of 45 degrees on the synthetic there. So we have to be very smart in how we program sessions, what we do at different moments, and then also from that, space is at a premium. We've just got into a situation where we can travel down the road and have a bit more pitch space once a week. But predominantly the program is based on small areas, technically proficient players, and developing creative players who are comfortable in tight areas. The school started in 1963 and started a sports program in 1990. Since there, we're about 31 years into the football program. There's 115 staff at the school, 1,750 students, which 800 of those students are sports students across about 11 different sports. The school's led by Andrew Rogers, the principal. The director of sport is Miss Joanne Kenny. Both very supportive, executive.
I have to acknowledge that over 2 decades of work that former director of football Trevor Morgan did at the school, he had a massive impact on the development of the players and the staff, and is now responsible for guiding the technical direction of football in Australia.
Casey De Bruin is our head boys coach. He's on the meeting here, which is great. Casey's been at the school for, as he said, over 25 years. He's a mentor to both the students and the staff, and coached professionally for over 30 years. Been assistant at under 17 World Cups and different national league teams in the country. So he's very good for guiding, and his advice is welcome for all the staff and all the players regularly. Leah Blaney is our girls coach, and Leah is also an ex-international player, and she's also the current under-20 national team coach. Brodie Crane's our goalkeeper coach. He's a former student like Leah, understands the school very well, very passionate about the school, and Brodie is the current 17s national goalkeeper coach, and also been away with the 23s recently. So these 3 staff, along with Tony Wignall, who's the head of high performance at the school, he's the current senior women's national fitness coach, strength and conditioning, and a former student at the school. So the work ethic of those staff is tremendous. Their passion for the school, their expertise. They've all been promoted within national teams over the last 5 years, and are at the highest point in football in the country. So when they're trying to prepare players for the next level, these staff that work in different environments have a very clear understanding of what's required at national level. So the standards they set in training, the standards they set in around the school, their expertise on developing the individual player, both technically and tactically, is outstanding. That's the basic structure of our school program. The players range from 18 at our top end to under sixes in our after school program and weekend training. Now, with the professional clubs now, they're starting to take players a bit earlier at 16. We do tend to train the boys and the girls together up to about year 10, but there'll be various moments where they're separate for different reasons, and it benefits the girls a lot. Once they get to about year 10, they start to split. There is a year coordinator in charge of each year group at school, looking at things like their welfare, looking at things like their behaviour, and all the coaches work across the different age groups, right? So you'll have Casey, who's a very experienced coach, working with our under sixes in the past. Because most of the staff here are teachers at the school or training to be teachers, they all understand the aspects of skill development and how players learn, and they can break down skills very easy to show them, and then also manipulate the pressure within a session. We think that's pretty important because we don't play a lot of games, and the main objective of the program is to develop better technical players who can play in any sort of system. We do have a primary school program, which we'll speak about a bit later, and also some holiday camps, which we run. We're very fortunate to have a very good sports science team, that when we do go to matches, there's GPS, there's filming, there's reviewing, there's live coding of matches. So players and staff can get good feedback from that. And our sports psychologist school is also working in the national teams unit for the Federation. Most of the former students there, they're all very ambitious and, sometimes away with different national team activity, which is fantastic because the level of their expectation is higher. And if we're trying to help kids reach their goals of becoming international footballers, knowing what's at the next level is crucial. And most of the coaches there do 3 to 4 sessions per day. They're very highly accredited, and practicing their craft that often with advanced players allows the coaches to progress very quickly in their own development. Just with regards to the senior national men's team, at Russia, the last World Cup, there was six players from the school, which is about 25% of the national team. I know the current staff and former staff take great pride in that, and that's what our job is about. Against Ireland, about a month ago, we had 6 players and 3 were under 20 in the senior women's team. Some players who have made their school age national team debut and also won the European Champions League. Harry Kuhl and Ellie Carpenter are probably 2 of our most famous world class players. I travelled over to Belgium 5 years ago with a colleague, and we had a Belgium technical director at the time in the country, and they tried to start a model like they do in Belgium with the top sports schools program, looking at more individualised training at school. Then the players will go to their club of an afternoon. With that, we did have a cooperation with the Federation for a couple of years, working on a high performance program. That no longer exists at the moment. Leadership at the school is pretty important. We pride ourselves on trying to produce very good footballers, but also good students and good people. The photo in the middle there is just a young boy from the school who was Ducks and also school captain. The national men's team captain is currently a former student and also 2A League or or domestic pro teams. With regards to the different professional clubs in Sydney, there's a girls program called the Institute of Sport. We have 19 of our top level girls there. And then other top players are spread between the different clubs, just with the Wanderers there. Through those different clubs, we have 48 players total. Of our 120 players in our program, the other players are spread amongst the different top level teams in Sydney. These professional clubs are a bit more stable than the local Sydney clubs and have a bit more consistency in their staff and players. It's interesting that a lot of the head coaches from these different clubs trust the school with developing their own sons or daughters within our program. The school program we run is not so much a weekly competition. Each age group might only get 6 games per year. So it's predominantly a training program where the kids train 3 to 4 times a week. Here's some top level players who'll come back to school with some of the younger counterparts behind them, and it's very quick that they tend to catch up and either play alongside these stars or even take their shirts one day. Our school is part of 7 sports schools in Sydney region, and they combine to form a Sports High School Association. We just completed a review of those different sports schools, and the football program at Westfields come out on top in terms of being able to develop players who can go into the professional environment from school. Okay, these guys, the 2 boys there, made their senior debut last week as a 16 and 17-year-old, and Ellie in the middle obviously made a national team debut at 16. Last year we completed a FIFA double pass analysis, which is we got nominated for that because of the junior national team players we produced. With regards to the feedback from that review, it consisted of over 20 interviews and uploading 80 documents and training sessions. They gave us some very good feedback on areas we could improve, and XPS, as you'll see in a moment, assists us with some of those recommendations. We start our junior program, which is holiday camps, as our first feeder thing into the school. Some of these young kids now, we've done these camps for 5 years. Some of these kids into the school have made junior national teams and starting to funnel into the school program, which is the main idea of it. Our junior program, which is another reason we want to try and get kids earlier at the school, is to expose them to the different training methods we have, and our coaches. We believe that if we can start to develop players from a younger age, we have a better chance of them achieving professional careers in the game. Down the road, we have a feeder primary school program for children under 12. These kids work with our staff coaches. The program is generally between 10 and 20 players. They'll train indoors, they'll train on synthetic, small group technique work. These guys have just had a little artificial pitch put in at the school. The objective of this program is just to get kids creative and enjoying the game. Working on little moments in training, and hopefully that transfers into the game where they can execute it in game situations. The primary school program, we hope that in the future that will form most of the year 7 intake at 13, where the kids know the philosophy, they know the expectations of the school, and they're used to training 3 mornings a week plus their club commitments. The trials at the school going into year 7 are pretty comprehensive. We look at different technical, tactical, mental, and academic parameters for each student, as well as the coaching eye. We rank those kids. The sports science team also look at their maturation stage, whether they're late developers or early. At the school, we have a long-term view on the athlete, which means we commit to them for 6 years from year 7 or 12 years of age. So the late developers we can afford to be a bit more patient with, and we're not actually just trying to win the weekend's match. So all that physical data, the speed testing, the vertical jump, along with their training on the pitch, allows us to make an informed decision on what players we should bring in. Now, with regards to the testing data for the students, we do physical testing on them 3 times a year. And the students, once they come in, start to develop a physical passport, if you like, where we can track and monitor how they develop physically. We know over time that some kids will go through awkward stages in their puberty years. Injuries might set them back slightly, but we can track them according to vertical jump, according to yo-yo, height. Every parameter we test, we graph. So for me, I'm not so much an Excel man, but once it's all imported into the XPS system, I find it much easier to use and see, compare players, contrast players. We can also compare players of now compared to players who are making senior debuts and seeing where they're at compared to their former peers. With some of the training we've been doing at school, some of it includes plyometrics. A lot of the coaches here are very innovative in what they want to try and do and try. The school is a place where we can work, we can try things, and then we can test them. Okay, so with some of the data we're getting through the different testing we do, you can actually see what's working. And with regards to the plyometric stuff, we've started to add this twice a week for 15 minutes with most groups. And what we've found is the vertical jumps improved of the players and also the speed. The players are enjoying these and also developing physically through their tolerance to it. So here's our year 8 group last year, where in a group of 20, all but one improved their counter movement jump. And their speed over that same period reduced over 20 meters. Once we stopped that in September, and over the Christmas break, when they came back, all their speed went backwards. With COVID hitting, we found it very easy to set work and give players different tasks and workouts through the system. Things like halftime team talks. We were fortunate that the Euros were on and also the Olympics, where 2 Australian teams were representing. And the children or the students, when they did present,
all right, yours come in,
showed a lot of personality and a lot of good understanding with their analysis of the matches. Players at different moments were also asked to analyse the school teams and players in their position. And when they present things into the system, a lot of their answers are very clear on what the player understands. Each player completed a small skills video, 60 seconds, which was then shared through the workout programs to each other. With the forms in the system, we've been working on that a bit lately with regards to an athlete plan, match day analysis. We did some COVID welfare checks on the players, self-analysis at report time and so on. What we will get is a weekly match review where players report on how they think they went, what their instructions were, and try and focus a bit more on game day, along with the session one as well. So this was one of the double pass recommendations. What I love about the forms through the system, if the players are completing their form or information into the app, that populating straight into player reports is sensational. Now, this is just one part of the athlete plan, which is looking at culture and why the students chose a school. We also did different technical, tactical, and physical components of that, along with mental. And these forms or reports then form the basis of different interviews with players, where what they write down is discussed, and also the kids are held to account on what they want to achieve, how they're going to do it, and different time frames for that. With the school doing 4 sessions a week, some of the sessions are theory-based. These are some moments in different EPL matches where we show students the raw footage or share it with them. They then complete the form online, which then populates into the athlete profile. And then as a staff and as a group, we then start to discuss what maybe the coach sees. And then we do that through the presenter and just share the finer points of maybe what happened. Some of the players will understand this and see it themselves. They all have different levels of tactical understanding and game sense. And this is a nice way to break up the training week where it's not always physical sessions. With these sorts of resources that we develop, these are with us forever. And by storing it and being able to share it with all the staff, we believe it increases kids' game intelligence. Just through the athlete profile there. Another recommendation was understanding the readiness of players, understand how they're feeling, flag any soreness or injuries. The staff at the school are under the belief that we need to develop players' physical capacity. Once upon a time, that was Australia's massive strength. With the increase of technology and so on at the moment, kids are doing a bit less. We need to develop the ability to perform a couple of sessions a day and to perform at higher levels. So these readiness charts, weekly readiness, are good data for the staff. However, we still believe we need to develop their tolerance and ability to perform at high levels if they're going to achieve their potential. With the loading as well, we can start to see this sort of stuff, and reporting is required at the national team level. We want to prepare the players for that level. The XPS system for this is about 10 or 15 seconds that the players complete it, and it gives staff a good understanding on what they've done. You see the graph at the top there is a player who's been very diligent, and the one at the bottom maybe not so. another great feature with the app is that the players can have a look at this themselves. We've also activated the players can access their school report online. For those who want to look back at it and their athlete plan and see how they're going by it, we think it's a good idea for the players to be able to access that. Now, with regard to the calendar at school and the drill collection, we've got a lot of excellent staff there who share ideas, share drills, and this isn't a program where I need to watch and see what staff are doing every moment. They hold themselves to account with their organisation, but we do have a very comprehensive drill collection with a lot of top quality staff with our own tagging system according to our philosophy. We've just started adding a lot more plyometric activities. And organising a session is quite simple, as you all know. This is just a third man running session that Casey did last week. As an educator, I believe that these sorts of animations and drawings and showing players what's coming. This is our year 9 and 10 group. If we do this with a year 8 group and show them, it's a very clear picture and the players are trying to get to that level. We also try and take model footage from our school matches and also from professional games. Whereas you might present this in a meeting in a room before a training session in a professional environment, sometimes the children might watch this on their phone on the way to school. So just different examples of reverse passes that the players can understand the context and when it might happen and why we might do it. Some of the strengths of the coaches at school is creating the situations in the games. Right, different third man running opportunities. The flow and the design of the session is important, but also probably more so than that is the coach's ability to set up the practice, inspire the players, and timing and quality of their interjections. So directing the program, I get a good view on what's happening in every session. Our under 8 session where we have younger coaches running that, XPS is very handy where the national curriculum through the federations uploaded and encouraged amongst that sort of age players. So creating session plans for 16, 17-year-old coaches is very simple through the system. The workouts that players were given over the lockdown period was very easy to see who'd been doing the work. We did prescribe many workouts for players. However, the kids at school, we want them to be self-aware. We want them to know their strengths and weaknesses, and that the players should know what they need for their game. So just with that drill collection there, we did start to develop a lot of resources for different moments of the game, such as playing between the lines, to provide players with clear examples on what the session's about. This was a crossing and finishing session we did last week. Once again, when it's in the collection, it's very simple to organise. Iniesta floated ball into the back post. And the students always enjoy watching the latest EPL goals and working on those techniques in sometimes isolation and then in a functional practice where there's decisions to be made on defenders. With the sports science team, we taught the players how to create their own workouts with different strength, speed, and agility sessions. And we also created a lot of activities or workouts with different focuses. So with the reporting and the athlete profile, what we've found is it very simple. When we do have a player for an extended period of time, we get to see their progress, both technically and physically. So with our athlete profile, for different age groups, we look at different things. So this is a basic one for a Year 7 student, where we're looking at their speed. We did have a competition where we put the GPS on the players. This boy ran 11 Ks in his matches that day. 1v1 competitions, we want to record these sorts of things where we make it competitive and kids are accountable for their own results. So as much as we want them to compete against others, we want them to compete against themselves and always look for that self-improvement. This is a Year 10 report where, look in the top right corner there, we have their gym attendance for that term, where 20 times attending is always expected per term. This boy hasn't been great with that.